Blood, guts, action, monsters, fan service, the Chainsaw Man anime series was poised to be one of the biggest hits of 2022. Did it live up to the hype, or did this chainsaw-centric anime series turn into a massacre?
Powerful Nerdcast assembled!
Stay dandy, baby. There's a bounty on this video, and the collection are your views, so make sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. And if you want to support the channel in another way, make sure to check out my Patreon in the link below. Greetings, my friends. It's time to carve up a good time because today we're going to be talking about Season 1 of Chainsaw Man. That's right, yet again, I'm tardy to the party. The wait for the Chainsaw Man anime series was astronomical. People were pumped for this series as it was one of the most hyped up anime of 2022, and I myself was pretty excited for the series as it seemed like it was tailor-made for my sensibilities. I love action, I love gory stuff, I love kick-ass music, not to mention this was a series all about a main character who had a very unique weapon. He could effectively transform into a superhero, which allowed him to create chainsaw blades from his body as he fought against monsters. I mean, this just sounds fucking rad. And you know what? It was so rad, in fact, that I actually ended up reviewing the first 3 episodes, and I have to say these views were through the roof. Okay, so these videos didn't exactly blow up or anything, and I wasn't expecting them to be a viral hit or anything, but the fact of the matter is, I fell off pretty hard on the first couple of episodes of Chainsaw Man. While I was enjoying what I was seeing in terms of the animation and the action and everything, nothing about the series really grabbed me, nothing really hooked me. I didn't really understand why everybody was so damn hyped for this series. That was until I finally decided to sit down and watch the entire first season, and I have to say that while my opinion has not changed much, I do understand why people really do love this show. The first season of Chainsaw Man is based on the manga of the same name, which is both written and illustrated by Tatsuki Fujimoto. The series made immediate waves when it was introduced in 2018 and became one of the most popular manga of the last decade, and everybody was just waiting for that inevitable anime adaptation, which hopefully was going to live up to the hype. And in terms of animation, this show fucking rocks. The first season was produced by Studio Mappa, who's worked on a lot of really great shows, everything from Attack on Titan to Jujutsu Kaisen. And I gotta say, I was really hyped when I learned this because, one, I do like Attack on Titan, and I also really love Jujutsu Kaisen, another anime series and manga which has really blown up over the last couple of years, especially because its very first anime season was nothing short of spectacular, and it even had a lot of the same sort of like vibe as Chainsaw Man. However, after watching this first season, I can see that while aesthetically they might be quite similar, Chainsaw Man is incredibly bleak, and most importantly, when compared to some of its other shonen manga counterparts, it is incredibly relatable. This relatability comes in the form of its cast of characters, not so much its overall premise, which is very stock, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's basically just about a show about a group of monster hunters, in particular, the Devil Hunters, who go after these creatures which are known as devils, which are basically the personified forms of the fears of people. These devils can be nightmare fuel, and they can be incredibly adorable as well, not to mention marketable, like everybody's favorite little chainsaw puppy Pochita. The bulk of the story follows the character of Denji, a young, destitute, out-of-luck young man who ends up joining this devil hunter organization after he dies and his body is taken over by a chainsaw devil, which effectively transforms him into the titular Chainsaw Man. If you want to take a deeper dive into what Chainsaw Man's lore and background really is all about, I really just have to recommend checking out the manga, watching the first season of the anime, or you can even check out my reviews of the first 3 episodes of Season 1. Now, I need to stress, I really liked the first 3 episodes of the season. Aesthetically, like I said, they just absolutely blew me away with their quality, and the rest of the series continues to look really freaking good. This is one of the most cinematic anime experiences that I've seen in quite some time, and if anything, I think it does justice to the manga version and might even surpass it in many ways. This actually surprised me, as one of the biggest aspects of this season is that it utilizes an interesting mixture of traditional hand-drawn looking animation, not to mention some CG animation, which I have to say did not take me out of any of the action experiences. They all looked really good when they were going on, and just like the rest of the series, the characters and the overall atmosphere of the show itself, it's blunt, it's dark, it's also gory as fuck. So if you're not into like blood or guts or any of that kind of thing, this might not be the show for you. However, if you're a fan of, say, horror films and action, this one might just rock your jollies. So let's get back on track here. After I watched the first 3 episodes of the series, I sort of just dropped off at that point. I was done, I had other things going on in my life, other anime to watch, and of course everything going on outside of YouTube, so I just didn't have time for Chainsaw Man. That is until I decided to check out the rest of the series, and I pretty much just consumed it in one sitting, which I have to say was probably the best way to consume it, as it was really addictive. I swear every single episode ended on some sort of cliffhanger that was just begging me to watch the next episode, and that's pretty much what I did. And I have to say that while it didn't evolve or change that much from the very first 3 episodes of the series, it did give me a better idea of what this entire show is. See, that was the thing. I didn't know what Chainsaw Man really wanted to be. I didn't know if it wanted to be some sort of like take on classic shonen battle manga, if it wanted to be like a horror anime series. It wasn't until about, I'd say, episode 5 or 6 that I realized what the entire show was. It was a sitcom, a workplace sitcom. But this sitcom was different. This wasn't an episode of Seinfeld. This didn't have a laugh track. There wasn't a live studio audience watching this, but it certainly was a workplace sitcom. It's about a group of very depressed people who come together to try and make the world a better place. They're all characters who come from the same sort of mold. The mold that is to say, they are broken humans. These are characters who've experienced loss, abandonment, pain, depression, basically the worst parts of the human experience itself. And I don't know about any of you guys out there, but that is incredibly relatable. Going into this show trying to find some sort of secret meaning, I think is going to destroy your enjoyment of Chainsaw Man. What you really need to do is just kick back, relax, and enjoy the characters for who they are, because you might just end up seeing yourself in some of them. The main character, Denji, in particular, to me was very perplexing. I didn't quite get what his character was all about until the very end of the series. I mean, he's a character who doesn't have very large, lofty goals. He simply just wants to live a comfortable life, and I don't know about you, but that might be the most relatable thing to any human on this planet. Food, shelter, and relationships. It's the type of thing that just about every single human wants and craves. And that is what drives Denji throughout the course of this entire series. He doesn't want to be the greatest devil hunter there ever was. He doesn't want to be the most powerful devil hunter. He simply just wants to protect his brand new way of life. And if that means fighting a lot of monsters and ripping their guts out, he is going to do that in every way that he can. Denji also happens to be a surprisingly deep character for the fact that he's essentially fighting for his very humanity. After fusing with Pochita in the very first episode of the series, he essentially becomes a brand new being while retaining a lot of his previous personality. And we get to learn throughout the course of the series that while he certainly has an obsession with forming relationships, whether they be having brand new friends or even just being with a woman, it always ends up being kind of sexual, as if he's a character who needs to feel or needs to be wanted by someone. And that's basically what his entire deal is. He's a character who just wants to be loved. And when he finally gets a taste of that for the very first time, he's gonna fight for it, tooth and nail. And best of all, he's not even in it alone. I think one of the most remarkable things about Chainsaw Man is that while Denji is indeed the main character, he does actually get overshadowed by a lot of the main side characters of the series. In particular, the 2 other main characters, Aki and Power. These are 2 more characters who are cut from the same cloth as Denji. While they might not have the same personality, they certainly come from a world of abandonment, a world of death and destruction, and they're going to have to work together in order to combat that and possibly change it in order to achieve their goals and get exactly what it is they want. Whether that be revenge, a roof over their head, feeling some boobs, or just getting their cat back. It's these simple threads that bring these characters together and make the 3 of Denji, Aki, and Power one of the coolest triplets of characters that I've ever seen in any anime series. The beauty is in their simplicity. Now, outside of the main cast of characters, there's a number of others that are easy to get really attached to. The main female character, Makima, is head of Special Division 4. She's the character who actually ends up saving Denji at the very first episode and giving him a brand new lease on life. And Denji is obsessed with this woman. She seems to be very captivating and charismatic to just about everyone that she interacts with. She also commands a lot of respect, she's incredibly powerful, and also kind of freaky. This is the type of woman that you don't want to fuck with. She'll fight a monster, no problem, but she'll also walk up to a mob boss and present him with a bag full of eyeballs. There's a ton of other characters to get attached to in Special Division 4 as well. I think one that makes one of the biggest splashes in this season has got to be the character of Himeno, who is a really great friend of Aki and a possible love interest, which unfortunately does not get to go anywhere. But she's a very big character, as she is the first person in the series to really show Denji what it means to be an adult, if you know what I mean. The episode where she almost has sex with Denji is really important because this is sort of like Denji's big moment. This is sort of like the end goal for his character. In any other series, this would be it. He's reached it. He's about to become the sex Hokage. But instead, he realizes that he still wants to be with Makima, and he ends up turning her down. She's also a lot older than him, and that would be statutory rape, and that's all kind of fucked up too. But the point is, her character was really instrumental in bringing Denji out and showing him what he truly cared about, also making him realize that now that he is sort of like half devil, does he even have like a human heart anymore? Can he even conceive what it means to love someone like a real human? Again, it's another one of those elements which seems kind of stock at first, but is insanely relatable to just about any viewer who's going to watch it. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention a few other characters, like there's Kobeni, who's incredibly neurotic and freaked out all of the time. She seems like she's not qualified to be a part of this group at all, but she ends up making me laugh my ass off almost every single time that she is on screen. There's also this one badass devil hunter who's supposedly the most powerful of all, who's there to train both Denji and Power, and by the end of the series, his lessons actually do end up paying off for these characters. But there is also an overall story which is going on throughout the course of this entire season. There's a hint of an even more powerful devil, which is known as the Gun Devil, who's responsible for killing lots of people, not to mention Aki's entire family, so he now has a reason for wanting to get revenge. But we also have another group of villains who are introduced towards the end of the series, such as Katana Man, who very much like Denji has the ability to transform his body and use the power of katanas. They have a couple of really epic fights throughout the course of this entire series, and they also seem to be secretly working with the Gun Devil. Again, the big overarching villain of what this entire series is going to be. But most of these episodes are sort of like standalone Monster of the Week style stories, and it's basically just sort of like a canvas to show off these characters, what their personalities are, and how far they're willing to go in order to achieve their goals. And you know what? Let's get superficial for a moment. Let's talk about just how damn good this series looks again, because wow, this is just a really great cinematic looking series. Outside of the character design, which at first seemed kind of boring to me, actually grew on me as the series went on, and I realized how well thought out it actually was the entire time. I love the look of all of these characters, the transformation sequences they go through, in particular Denji and his Chainsaw Man look, which is a weird, freaky combination of venom and heavy metal. The end of the season also teases the fact that we're going to see a lot more of these humans which have sort of fused with devils before, as a couple are introduced, like a creepy Spider-Woman, Shark Boy over here, not to mention an angel. And the powers of the main characters are just as interesting. Like I said, Denji's Chainsaw Man sort of speaks for itself. It's loud, it's destructive, it's bloody, it's awesome, it's just really fun to look at. Power is a character that I feel is very underutilized in the first season. I'm sure they're going to do a lot more with her as the actual show goes on, but I want to see more of her distinctive ability to control blood. Aki, on the other hand, definitely gets to show off a lot of his abilities in this season. My favorite one being the ability to summon a massive fox devil, which basically takes the form of a massive kaiju-sized fox which just appears from out of nowhere, biting down and ripping all of its victims to shreds. It looks so incredible. But he also has this really crazy nail-like sword which is going to be draining his life. He even manages to form a contract with another devil by the end of the series, which allows him to see into the future. I didn't mention that, but these characters also have the ability to make contracts with devils, which basically allow them to summon and use their abilities, which again are incredibly creative and look all sorts of gnarly. My biggest hope for the future of Chainsaw Man is that it's going to continue. I really want to see a season 2, and the way that the first season ends, there is the implication that there is more to come. It's very cryptic and strange. It's the type of thing that probably only manga readers are going to notice, but color me surprised, I'm excited to see what's actually going to happen next. This is another one of those anime experiences which almost passed me by. I'm glad that a lot of people were continuously asking me to watch this series and to talk about it, because I really did end up loving it by the end. Again, it's not the best anime series that I have ever seen, but for what it is, it's doing a fantastic job with its material, and I cannot praise the animation enough. It looks so damn good every single episode. It's not just the artwork in the animation, it's the actual cinematography itself. You can tell that this series was looked at with a lot of love and care, as they really wanted to make these camera shots really dynamic and interesting. It's not just straight on shots all the time. There's some very creative use of just the editing in this series. Not to mention, it also is just a series which just loves the fact that it's so over the top. I mean, if it's not the violence or the action scenes, it's the personality of the characters, it's the humor that comes from it. It's raunchy, it's gory, sometimes it's even outright disgusting. But it's also a series which relishes in that disgust, in that nastiness, and I really like that. It's a series that knows what it is, and it comes across as incredibly confident. Originally, when I started Chainsaw Man, I had a Peter Griffin mentality about it.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
But after watching the first season, I can really see where the hype was coming from, why people were loving this so much, and why they were just vibing on it. This is a really interesting and unique anime experience, despite the fact that the story and the setting and everything else seems kind of standard. Really, again, it's about that relatability. It's the thing that I think most people are truly going to love about the series. That and the fact that it's also just really fucking cool looking. Also, I gotta say, the intro didn't do much for me at first. Now I can't get it out of my head, and I love the fact that every single episode has its very own unique ending. Again, they didn't have to do that, but that's what's great about the Chainsaw Man anime series and the people at MAPPA. They really put their heart and soul into this series, and they wanted to make it memorable. And you know what? I think they did a kick-ass job. If you guys are digging what you're seeing, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. If you want to help support the channel in another way, please check out my Patreon link in the box below. So yes, I really loved this season a lot, and I really cannot wait to see more. I don't know if I'm going to read the manga or if I'm just going to wait for the next season. All I know is you can consider me a Chainsaw Man fan at this point. But what about you guys? Did you watch the very first season? Were you fans of the manga before? Did you jump on for this anime adaptation? What did you think of this season overall, and do you want to see more in the future? Let's talk about all that stuff and your favorite moments from season 1 in the comments section below. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.